JK. What's up, bro? How you been?
Pepper. Um, I've been doing good, man. How about you?
Chilling, bro. I um I just got this new job. I've been I got a new car. Just hanging out, bro, honestly. Like I've
All
been doing a
right.
lot of streaming lately.
Yeah, I'm doing that right now, actually, as we're talking. I'm actually playing Marvel Rivals.
As we're talking is crazy.
Yeah, as we're talking.
Which reminds me, if you go to people, you can invite people and then you can have them as like an audience member and then they can be in the actual chat.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I gotta send it to a couple more peeps on TikTok. Uno momento. Gotta send it to Miranda and Brosi. Okay. Yeah, so okay, you streaming Marvel Rivals. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Who's your go-to character?
Oh, right now it's probably Adam Warlock. I have so much fun on him. Yeah. I mean, he heals. That's my issues. I don't typically get healed well in this game. So if I could play a character that can heal himself, then it's a win-win for me.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I stopped playing that game when it first came out. Not because like it was like bad or anything, but like I more prefer like RPG games. But
Yeah,
what's your
yeah. I
rank at
think
this
I
point?
real quick. I think I saw you playing. What was it, Silent Hill or Resident Evil or one of those on your TikTok a while back?
It might have been Silent Hill, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I saw you playing that. Those games look good. Those games look good. Um, rank, rank. So I don't know. Maybe a little embarrassed to say I'm max rank. I'm level 100.
That doesn't sound bad to me.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know much about the game, but it don't sound bad.
All I'm gonna tell you is it takes a long time to get to that rank.
Yeah, how often do you game or stream?
I try to do it twice a week, 3 times a week if I can. Now it doesn't sound like that's a lot, but when I do, it's usually like a long session, like 6 hours.
I mean, if you average that out, like split between like what, 7 days for 6 hours?
It's about like between 12 to 18 hours a week. Yeah, yeah.
Man,
So, how about tell me about your new gig and your new vehicle and how is all that working out?
okay. So new gig is pretty cool. I'm corporate now, construction company. Officially a project manager. That's what's up.
Very cool.
And the whip, I just needed something new. I got me a nice little 2026. Riding around in style now. It's
All
black
right.
on black.
All right. Very nice. Very nice. I like to hear that. Um, well, I got quite a few things going on now. So, um, me and one of my buddies started a lawn irrigation and pest control company. So, from the ground floor up, we made about 40,000 last month. So, it's starting off really strong. Very happy with that. Um, and we're just going to continue to try to grow business that way. It is long hours, salary based, but I'll wake up at 6 a.m. and I don't get home till like 7 or 8, depending on the day. Sometimes, if I'm lucky, very rarely, but when I am lucky, sometimes I could get an early day if there's just something on the schedule that gets canceled, or if we get rained out, which it rains a lot in Florida. Um, but for the most part, it's usually 12 plus hour days. But we're starting a company, so it's kind of makes sense. And my whole opportunity here is that I get to start the foundation of this company from the ground up, and I get to be able to help run it in the way that we're supposed to. He's taking all the financial risk by taking out the credit cards, purchasing the materials and the equipment, and so on and so forth. I am more along the lines of wearing all the hats where I'm doing admin work, scheduling, calling people, clients, helping get um, like materials, cards, and door knockers and stuff like that help designed. He's also doing that. We're all kind of touching a little bit on everything. And then there's only two of us. So we schedule a client, we're driving out there typically the next day to do the service. And irrigation work, I mean, you're kind of familiar with some irrigation. It could be a 10-minute job replacing a couple nozzles, or it could be a 3-day job replacing a whole system. So lots of moving parts, but very happy to be where I am. I also have a big life update on top of that. My baby daughter is being born this November. Yeah, yeah, I got one on the way.
Yeah, congratulations to you and Sloan for that. And I don't know if you realize this, but like these are both goals that like 2 or 3 years ago, we had kind of like spoken about, and you kind of like just said it like, yeah, eventually I want to kind of go to Florida and start a business, hopefully.
Yeah,
And obviously, I know you and Sloan were trying for a baby for a while, so it's like, yo, like congratulations, you achieved all of that. Like God is good.
God is very good. You know, he keeps his promises. We kind of felt like he was the one pushing us to come out here, and it was a big step, and we felt like we were giving up a lot to do it, but in return, we gained everything. So glory be to God on that one.
Amen.
Amen.
So you have any plans for the name for her?
Yeah. So, um, my wife. Now we both picked the names together, but she was kind of like the sole proprietor of the girl name. I would be of the boy name. So she kind of got dibs on that one. It's going to be Elsie Wren Casper.
That sounds cool.
She's going to go by her middle name, probably Wren, but her full name's going to be Elsie Wren Casper. And we just can't wait to meet her. So far, all the ultrasounds, everything we've done, she's healthy, and we couldn't be more grateful about it. So yeah, I mean, it feels surreal to me that in just a couple months here, I'm going to be a dad.
I mean, kudos to you, brother. Like, congratulations again.
Yeah, thank you.
I
Thank you.
know that there's a lot of work, there's a lot of responsibility, but the type of person that I see you as, like I see you as more than capable. Because I've seen you hold it down. I've seen you struggle and keep the right head on you with the right heart the entire time. So it's like if anybody's capable, I know it's you, bro.
I appreciate that. Um,
Holy cow.
yeah, yeah, lot going on there. I'm actually coming down to California. I believe early, maybe late September. I can't. I got to get my facts straight. I'll text you the details, but maybe we could link up and get some food or something.
I'm down. I'm
Yeah,
so
I'll
down.
be down there for a couple days.
Yeah, yeah, bro, definitely hit me up. There's this just like this Asian night market thing that I went to in Arcadia, and that thing was pretty badass. Like it was pretty cool. But there's another one that's gonna be going on in Thousand Oaks, and I think like if it makes sense for the schedule, we should hit it, bro.
Yeah, yeah. It makes sense. I definitely know I'm gonna be eating a lot of food out there, mainly for the purpose of the food here in Florida is awful. Now, there are some niche foods. They have good barbecue out here, and they have like the gator bites and the catfish, and all that stuff's good. And the seafood boils are really good, but like they don't have In and Out, they don't have King Taco, they don't have Taco Lita, they don't have, heck, they don't even have Carl's Jr. Like there's so much food I'm missing. Tommy's, like I can't tell you how bad I'm missing my chili cheese fries from Tommy's. Oh, I cannot. I'm literally those 3 days and going down there is just me eating nonstop.
You and Tommy got a date.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure. That is for sure. So how about any entertainment you've seen recently? Anything good? Like I just got back from seeing Spider-Man yesterday and I got to tell you, I wasn't expecting too much from it. It's pretty good.
Don't spoil it for me. That's the one that me and the guys are gonna go hang out and watch.
All
Me,
right.
Felipe, George, and them.
Cool, cool. I won't spoil anything, but I will say this. It's so refreshing to finally see him kind of grow into an adult role instead of playing this little kid the whole time. So I will say that you're going to like that part.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, I've never really been one to get excited about Spider-Man movies,
Mhm.
but I saw the trailer and I was like, bro, like I really liked how the second one ended off and the
Yeah.
way it's like segueing into this third one. Like I'm like I actually was like, all right, the second it comes out, I want to go watch it. But our schedules didn't line up. But like that, not a lot of movies make me want to do that.
Yeah. I will say um there has been just a handful of movies this past year and upcoming year that I couldn't wait for and that it was so good. Like have you seen Obsession yet?
Yes.
Okay, so that's one of them. And I have quite a lot to say about that movie in particular because when I saw the trailer for it, me and my wife saw the trailer for it in theaters watching a different movie. And I remember looking at her and being like, yeah, it looks all right. Because it just looked like a stereotypical like stalker type movie. Like you didn't think too much about it. And then one night we're like, oh, let's go see it. And we're like, all right, cool. So it was literally like a Tuesday night where we got off of work early. Um, and we wanted to go on a small date night, and we're like, "What movies are out?" And we're like, "Well, this one we kind of wanted to see it." And we're like, "All right, let's go see it." This is before all the reviews came out. Like this is like day two of it being out or something. And we go and see it, and our minds were blown with how good it was. And we couldn't figure out if it was because we went in there with zero expectation or if it because it was just that good of a movie. And I think both of it combined is what made it just so spectacular. Arthur Curry, the director of that movie, he's also, I think, 26, 27 years old. He's a young guy. So it was so refreshing to see a horror film not made by the stereotypical people in Hollywood that are pushing the same horror crap out every single horror movie. So I'm so excited to see this new generation of kids come out of the woodwork and throw in their original ideas and designs because I love entertainment. It's what I live for. I crave to play games, to watch movies, to read books, to watch the lore, to comics, all of it. So when I see an original idea, it's so refreshing.
Hell yeah, bro. That movie was like awesome. I went to go watch it with the same group of friends, right? Lately we've just been all hanging out watching all the movies that come out. And for one, I liked that I want to say like the antagonist was the woman. Cause too many situations where it's like if it's a stalker type movie or whatever, like in a session, it's usually the guy that's the weirdo, right? But I thought it was interesting to know that I mean spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it by now, like I apologize, but like, uh yeah, you go watch it. But like the girl is the one who's obsessed, right? And you don't see that very often in movies, and even when you do, it's like it's rare. But the fact that they had such a like a unique twist of it, like they had these like like the make a wish things,
Hmm.
like that makes sense because a woman is rarely ever gonna get into like some stalker behavior on that caliber unless there's something supernatural going on, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and that was yeah. There's so many times where I said, "Watch, this is probably what's gonna happen." But it did, but in a way that I didn't expect it to, if that makes sense. Like, for example, the van scene where he's talking to the other girl, I literally looked over at my wife and I said, "She's gonna come out of nowhere, watch." And she does. And that scene was so brutal and disturbing. I was like, I knew it was coming and it still shook me. Like like I knew it.
Yeah, that part was no joke.
Mhm. And then there's quite a few other good ones that are coming out here, like the new Resident Evil movie. Me and a couple of my buddies are actually really excited to go see that one. We were a little bittersweet that the director said there's not going to be any homage to the video game characters in this movie. Bitter because we want to see Leon, we want to see Chris Redfield out there doing their thing, but at the same time, um, we are always going to be happy with a original adaptation or original story. So we're very excited for that too, and they're bringing back the horror element to it. When I saw the trailer for that movie, I was like, "Dang, this looks so good! I cannot wait for it." Um, so me and my buddies already setting up a date to go see that movie when it comes out. We saw the Weapons movie, but I think it was the same director that created Weapons is the same one that's doing Resident Evil. And
This
that was also, yeah, yeah,
was
it's called
weapons.
Weapons. Um, Definitely not going to give anything away because you are going to watch it someday and you're going to be like, whoa, that's kind of trippy. But essentially, a bunch of kids in a school go missing except for one, and all the parents are trying to figure out what happened to the kids. Why did they just get up in the middle of the night and run away from home? And there are some supernatural elements behind it, it makes it a pretty good story.
Oh, this is the guy that made Barbarian.
Yes, which is also a great movie.
Let's go. Let's go.
Um, and then what else? Oh, so this is theorized from one of my favorite TikTokers that I can't remember the name of, so I can't give him a shout out. My bad. But he said that this movie that's coming out next weekend, called The End of Oak Street, where their suburb gets teleported to like a Jurassic World type place, is actually supposed to be a tie-in to the Cloverfield movies. Which, I mean, that'd be awesome if it is.
I love that there's so many different instances where Cloverfield is referenced and acknowledged, but also like they're just slowly, like bringing it into focus.
Hmm.
But continue. Also, Brosi in the chat said, Richie, we need to sit you down for a marathon of good movies released within last year.
Yeah, big time.
Let's do it. You ain't gotta try too hard with me. Let's do it.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones out there right now. Um, touching back on the Marvel stuff and not giving any spoilers away or anything. I'm just very curious where they're going to head into like the Doomsday and the Secret Wars movies. Have you seen the last Venom movie, Last Dance? Venom Last Dance?
No, and I have a good reason for it, but go ahead.
It wasn't a spectacular movie by any means, but they had some good lore behind it. And their big bad villain in that movie, he's supposed to be like one of the biggest villains in comic book history. He's like one of the top 5 biggest villains, I would say. Now, Sony is the one producing those type of movies. Now, they did work with Marvel right now to create the new Spider-Man movie. So, depending on how they work rights wise, if they're allowed to or not allowed to bring that character into the Doomsday movie or Secret Wars movie, which I assume they're probably going to do. I just don't know how they're going to do it, not just movie wise, theoretically, but also um legal wise, how they're going to share that character. Because right now, for example, the Hulk. Uh, Marvel is only allowed to use the character Hulk as a side character. They cannot make a Hulk movie. Only Sony has the rights to make a solo Hulk movie. Marvel does not. So, they share rights in a way where I can't tell you verbatim, but I think that Sony takes in 95% of Spider-Man and Hulk movie ticket sales, but Marvel and Disney are allowed to take 100% of the merchandising, toys, posters, pens, everything that has their face on it.
Okay.
So yeah, just some interesting facts there because it's so unique to have different studios participate together to try to use a specific character, especially with a universe ever expanding. where these characters need to meet to make a movie.
What is the name of the villain that you're talking about in Last Dance? Or is it a spoiler and it's just best for me to wait until I watch it?
Um, well, that's the thing. If you're not a huge comic book reader, a Marvel comic book reader, you might not know, even if you were to watch the movie. But I mean, I'm gonna tell you the name because I don't think it's giving like anything away in the movie. His name is Null. He is the symbiote. He is the god of symbiotes. He's the one that creates Venom and all the other symbiotes in the universe.
I think I recall you sort of mentioning him at one time because I don't know if you recall this, but there was a lot of times where you go into detail about like all of the different like Marvel characters and then like the lore behind them and how they tie into stuff. So you would get the wheels turning on it, and I think I kind of like I think this was right around when you were telling me the different versions of Hulk, and
Yeah.
yeah, so I don't know what he looks like. I remember the name because it's just like four letters or whatever. All right. Okay. All
But
right.
we got a lot of stuff, yeah. Because I mean, they have Doctor Doom coming in, RDJ coming in as Doctor Doom. I heard rumors that they're probably going to bring back King the Conqueror in with Doctor Doom, and they're going to work possibly as a team. But the only person or the only villain stronger than both of them is Null, and he's technically in the Sony universe right now. So how he's going to split into the MCU, I don't know. But there's so many theories going on out there. I really can't wait to see what they do with these characters, and I hope they do these characters justice. Which, I mean, from the Doomsday trailer, it shows Thor trying to cut Doomsday in half with his axe, and he stops it with two fingers, like that Dragon Ball Z episode with Trunks and Frieza or Goku. It was Trunks stopping. No,
uh,
Goku stopping Trunks' sword.
okay. So explain something to me about the multiverse.
Okay.
If you're like a god level entity, right? Or like Galactus or whatever, um, is it possible for you to be in two separate multiverses, or you, the entity, would only allow to be in one at a time while everybody else had multiple different versions of themselves?
Got it. So that's actually a great question. So, um, uh, all I can tell you regarding that type of information is Galactus was in Fantastic Four First Steps. He was a villain in that movie. He existed in that universe, but he never existed in the 616, the main Marvel universe, until he got teleported there at the end of First Steps. So I would say that when you have a character that is that multi a threat level, there is only going to be one of them under certain circumstances. Like Null, I think there's only going to be one version of him. King the Conqueror, now he is a human that uses extreme technological advances from his time. So since he is a human, not a god or a god type character, there is multiple versions of him throughout the multiverse. Where Galactus, he's the one and only. Same with like the Celestials too.
Okay, because I recall, so like it was a snippet that I saw on YouTube. I think it was a short where they basically were showing Galactus and he was like in New York. I think he like fell by the water or something, and then he looks at the Statue of Liberty.
Hmm.
And that was in reference to Lady Liberty, right? I think she's a celestial being.
Yeah, she is a celestial being that he is actually afraid of, and because I'm gonna be transparent with you. I haven't read that comic entirely, but I do remember hearing kind of what you're talking about. I can't remember if she is the Statue of Liberty, or like an entity that exists within the Statue of Liberty, or if it's one that looks like her. But I do remember he is supposed to be scared of her. So in the movie, when he saw the Statue of Liberty, he was kind of like, "Oh, okay, she's not moving."
Yeah, it spooked him. He was like, "Yo,
Hmm.
what the?" Because he's like fighting them, and then he just kind of catches her in his peripheral. What the? Hey, yo!
Yeah.
Like that could have been a bad day for him. I
Yep.
mean, it still was a bad day for him. Okay. But jumping back to the Resident Evil thing because that's like my bag, right? Like I really love Resident Evil.
Oh yeah.
Even I like don't get me wrong, I love the main protagonist, you know what I mean? But I do appreciate when you have like an unsung hero or like an underdog come up out of a franchise, kind of like Ethan Walk 'em Down Winters, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
He's a protagonist in his own way. Like, and in comparison to like Chris Redfield, it's like, come on, like who is this guy, right? But in his own way, like if that was just you or me and then he stepped in, you'd probably be like, "Yo, this guy's a fucking," you know what I mean? Like this,
Well,
he
it's good
stand
character
out.
development too, because like in the trailer, it shows the kid trying to shoot a lock off of the door so he could enter the building. He's missing. He's scared. It shows his lack of experience with firearms, and I really like that because the games actually do a good job implementing that too. If you pay very close attention, my favorite one is Resident Evil 4. That's my favorite Resident Evil game. I'm not saying any other games are bad. I just That's my favorite. When you start off the first chapter in the game, and you're pointing your gun at any zombie, you have a laser sight on your gun. It's kind of shaking quite a bit. And then as you progress through the game, your hand shakes less and less and less, especially when you get different attachments for your gun and you're getting used to killing these type of creatures. Leon starts to like you can see that he's getting used to these guys, where his fear level is now dropping more and more, which I really think is such a cool implement to a horror video game. So much, it turns because you have that horror element in it from the first couple chapters, and then you start to figure out how the game plays and you turn into an action hero, which is like such a cool concept in my head. You're especially again like the unsung hero type of deal. Now
Yeah,
he's not really unsung, it's Leon, but you know what I mean.
yeah, he was a badass in two. But like where I kind of want to jump in and kind of like give some flowers out there too is also Grace and Requiem. I don't know if
Hmm.
you played that one, but it's the same thing, right? Like you see Leon Kennedy, he's a lot older and stuff, but like he's just like, he's experienced. But her, like I feel like she really wasn't even supposed to be there other than the fact that like, that guy kind of like sent her there. So you see her holding this big ass weapon or like whatever like, gun or item you have in her hands at that time. And she shakes, bro. Like she shakes, or when she runs, she like trips over things. Like she's clumsy, and it's like I like that aspect is also referenced in Resident Evil 9 Requiem
Hmm.
because like you said, it's like such a good dynamic. I
Yeah.
I would wish what I would want from a Resident Evil game is if they can kind of capture that cinematic aspect about the game that makes it so appealing to the players while still incorporating, like let's say like this new person steps in, like they don't know how to use a gun. Like it's almost like a system. Like, have you ever played Kingdom Come Deliverance?
I can't say I played that one.
Your guy, like when he's holding a sword, bro, like he has no skills, like literally like level zero, and then you fight and you get to level one, like, and you get beat up, like so along the way you improve, and it would be cool to see a Resident Evil game like canon, I guess, or just like attached to the franchise, where people actually like build the skills without it being like some choppy multiplayer type of vibe. You know what I mean? Like a Dead by Daylight almost.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
shout
I
out
can
Dead
see
by
that.
Daylight.
The one game that flopped that I actually loved in the Resident Evil universe was Operation Raccoon City. I thought that game was amazing in so many ways. Now, don't get me wrong, it flopped for a reason. There was lots of things wrong with it. But I thought the storyline was really cool. I thought the multiplayer aspect was super cool. Like how you get to play as these special ops umbrella characters. Hunk, which by the way is my my Twitch tag name, Hunk TTV, and one of the coolest Resident Evil characters in the franchise. And you go out and you do these ops missions, and then in the multiplayer you fight against each other. And it's so cool because you have these players with different talents and abilities and skills fighting each other, and then you have a second element of zombies just roaming trying to eat you. And then they implement a thing where if you shoot one of your enemies, like one of the ops, and let's say your kit allows bleed out damage, then the zombies will frenzy that character to try to eat them quicker because they're bleeding out, they smell the blood, which is like super cool concept. And then they add in another element where there's the bioweapons, the big tyrants or the big abomination creatures roaming the map trying to just kill whoever's there. So it's not just you fighting someone else online multiplayer. You have all these other player versus monster elements in it at the same time, and that's just I think that was one of the first games that I've seen do that, where it was just such a cool concept.
Yeah, that's PvE at that point. That's player versus everyone.
Yeah,
Brosi said in the chat, isn't there a game where like they can actually hear you though? Hear you through the remote if you aren't quiet?
I have seen some gameplay on like TikTok of some games that are like that. I couldn't tell you if it was Resident Evil. I haven't played it before, but the clips on it are hilarious. I can definitely say that.
I agree. Yeah. I think there is like he said. I haven't seen it. I haven't played it myself, but I do know it's out there. And most of them seem to be like PC games, I
Hmm.
guess. A lot of the dope ones, or a lot of the ones that you see like in the community and stuff, where people like gather up and like they make like these little things, are usually on a PC.
Yeah.
Who's
Always
getting?
getting found because I yell. Well, what's the game? Tell us the game name.
I mean, damn, that honestly sounds pretty dope. Like it reminds me almost of like
Oh,
Ark.
there's my wife.
Hi, Sloan.
He said hi. Yeah, you heard that. Thanks for saying it out loud.
Everybody heard that.
All right.
I don't know what it is. I'm just saying I would get found if I played. Oh,
I'll check.
what is that game where you're like a little robot and you're like going to the spooky house and you're like stealing all these like treasured items?
I'm not sure.
They kind of look like little androids, like you know from the phone, the Android logo.
Yeah.
It,
Oh, I can't. Yeah, I don't. I couldn't tell you the name, but I do remember seeing something like that.
Repo.
Is
Repo.
it Repo?
Yeah, you're like a repo robot and you basically it's hilarious because like you have like all these clips of people talking and then like somebody will make a joke, the other person will laugh and they'll just get blasted. You're like,
Yeah. I think the new one that's out right now, that's the fan favorite, is the Mecha Chameleon. Have you heard of that one?
let's check that out.
Yeah. So apparently that one is like you kind of camouflage the wall and you paint your character to camouflage, and someone goes around and he tries to shoot you if he finds you.
Yeah, I want to play this game so bad, but like none of my friends play the same games as me. Like
Yeah, it's a curse. It really is.
it's so fun to have game friends that game, but like 99% of the time everybody just likes their own things.
Yeah, yeah. I try to push all my friends into my games. And that's the thing is sometimes I'll have like some friends that are like, heck yeah,
Pal
I'll
World.
play it. And they'll hop on for like a day or two, and just when I think it's like getting good and fun, they're like, "Oh, I'm playing this game now." I'm like, "Bruh, we just you just dropped $60 on this game. You played it for 10 minutes. Like, what do you mean?" Yeah, I
That's
gotta get my money's worth out of it.
That's how I was with Arc Raiders, by the way. Like I spent the $30 or whatever, and I played it, and then it seemed too repetitive to me. And if games are too repetitive, and there's not enough like systems or like like adversity, I'm out. Like,
Yeah, you know what was a fun game that I all right, so they came out with a mobile version of it on the phone, and it's actually kind of fun. It's repetitive, but it's still fun. And that's going to be the Division 2 or Division Resurgency on mobile. It's super fun. Graphics are pretty cool, and they have it emulated on the computer right now. So You can play it on the computer for free, and it's a great game in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I played Division 2 when it came out on PlayStation Plus, but I didn't play it for very long. I think I might even still have it, but I that was on PlayStation though.
Oh, one thing I wanted to mention is all right.
Resurgence.
So hear me out about this, okay? I One of my favorite Assassin's Creed games was Assassin's Creed Black Flag, the pirate one. I loved that one. I played it when it came out into the ground. And then they came out with like the updated graphics version one, like the update one. And this was a long time ago. And I remember I was like, dang, all right. Well, it's one of my favorite games, so I'm going to buy that. So I did. And I played that one into the ground. And then just a couple months ago, they came out with like the revamped extra content, up to date, up to the newest console. And I'm like, oh, that's cool, you know? And they're like $60 or whatever. And I'm like, I'm not gonna buy the same game the third time in a row. Like I want to play. I want to play that game. I do. I will never pay to play the same game three times in a row.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many times I played Resident Evil 4, and obviously, like they did the remake, so that's twice now. The second time it was like what, $70?
Yeah,
So it's like, all
yeah.
right.
I would say, you know what? That's probably where I learned my lesson. Is because I did buy all three of those. I bought it for the GameCube back in the day when I was a little kid,
You're
and
right.
then I got it for the Xbox 360, and then I got it for the Xbox Series X. And if they were to come out with it again for the next console, I learned my lesson. Not again.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny because like when I go out sometimes, like I'll just window shop, right? Like I'll walk around the mall and just not spend no money on anything. And I'm like, no, 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 I know better. But then my dumbass will literally spend like $70 on a game, like Brosi says, like 59.99 is a steal, and then only plays it once. Like that's me right there.
You know what games I've been doing that with? It's almost just for I buy it for nostalgia, and then I have buyer's regret, and I'm like, bro, I'm never playing this. Like the Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero, that one of the newest Dragon Ball Z games that came out, and I was playing it for like maybe an hour, and then I was thinking, this is like every single Dragon Ball Z game that has been out ever in history. Like it's the same thing every single time. And it's just nostalgia. I'm like, oh, it's Dragon Ball and it's new, and I can't wait, you know. And the DLC packs with the new Diama characters, like, all right, I gotta try it. And it's I think it's probably the second or third Dragon Ball game where I got, and I was like, it's the same thing. So I got to just remember, and I think honestly, it's kind of sad because I think those games are slowly dying because they're all the same thing. But I mean, you gotta mix it up.
Yeah. Brosi says in the chat, there's a new Wolverine game coming out. Yes, and that game looks fire. It looks absolutely insane. I haven't really done much research on it, but could like to figure out what timeline or where what the story's about. But I this one was on my list back in 2025. I um I basically like always do this thing where I'll like, hey, new games of the next year, like what is supposed to be coming out, just so that way I can, keep my finger on the pulse. But highly anticipated. They have great graphics, and from what I hear, you can even see like him regen in real life, like in real time. Like I think that's like amazing.
I think it looks really good. And it's made by the same creators as Spider-Man, right? Insomniac, I think. And their Spider-Man games are phenomenal. You know, I when those games came out, I was kind of done with single player RPG type games. I'm kind of just deep into the PvP community with any game that has PvP. I don't know. I get so much more content out of it because I'll be able to play it for hundreds of hours. Where like a role playing game is 13 hours, then you're done, you beat it. But Spider Man is one of those where like you can just swing around, and it's like that's just fun by itself. Is just swinging. You know, you just go to the top of a building, jump off, start swinging around. There's even TikTok people that are going slow motion, swinging around the city, doing like screenshots of themselves. And I catch myself like watching it for a little bit, like, oh, that's dope, that's cool. Just because it's that fun to just not even play the game, just swinging around in the game.
Yeah, most def. Like I was gonna say, another good aspect about a video game is being able to explore stuff and discover things that are secrets. Like you can definitely do that. Like you're like, oh, look at that tall building. You climb on top. There's a secret ward up there. You're like, holy crap! I wouldn't have seen that. I wouldn't have got this if I didn't go up there, right? Like I love that.
Yeah, and I would say that's the only thing that I think the internet is ruined out of a lot of games is or TikTok or any of those, because I remember before the internet was that type of accessible on an iPhone for me, I would play a game and I'd run into something and I'm like, wow, this thing is cool. I wonder what happens if I do this, or I wonder what happens if I max this skill out, or if I get this weapon. And now it's just you don't even have to be looking it up. You're just scrolling and it's like, you want the best weapon in this game, find it here. And you're like, okay, well now I know where that is, and well, now that I know that's the best weapon in the game, like there's nowhere you can really go from there. Where back in the day, everything was about exploring, and that was so fun. So, yes, it's cool to have the best in slot gear in a game that you really want to play, but at the same time, you're giving up the game's kind of soul by looking it up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, you're definitely really revealing too much about its character way too early on because what makes those aspects so fun is discovering all that stuff.
Hmm.
You come across a build and then you kind of start like, meshing like types of armor or like equipment together and you're like, "Oh, wow, that gave me a really good result." And then ultimately by the end of the game, you got like this OP ass fucking Spider-Man and he's just, I mean, he's just killing shit.
Yeah, I was playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the Viking game, and I didn't look up anything on this game. I wasn't interested in looking anything up. It's kind of like a spontaneous buy, and I was playing it, and I beat the game, and I'm just roaming around having fun on it, looking for cool gear, and I found Thor's hammer in the game, and I was like, no way they have this in the game. Like it's such a cool concept because I mean it is a Viking game. It would make sense, but there you don't get like Nordic mythology weapons until like end of the game. So everything seems kind of realistic. And then once you think, okay, cool, like I beat the game, there's like, wait a second, here you go. You get to play as Thor essentially. And you're like, what? This just changed the whole game for me. And those
Yeah.
are those are pretty fun.
I like those games where it doesn't matter what level you are, you can discover some high level loot and just use it. Like if you're dumb enough or should I say bold enough to explore that cave knowing damn well you're gonna just like get your ass whooped every corner and you soft save and you make it to the end, you finally beat the boss, right? And you're like traumatized now because of it. But you get his loot and then you go back to complete like mission number 10 or whatever, like, you're just dominating. You're like, "Yes," like, like
Yeah, it's quite a serotonin level spike for sure.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Recently I've been playing what game was this? Dying Light 2. That's actually what I was playing. I was streaming on TikTok a little while ago, but Stay Human, like, I think that game is, like, so awesome. I didn't
Yeah.
expect it to be that good. I haven't really watched much on the content. I just remember I asked them back in the day when it first came out, and they told me it wasn't worth, they're like, the game's whatever. Honestly, like, so that kind of deterred me and I just stopped paying attention to it. So even when I saw like snippets and stuff like that, I was like, this game's whack. But then I downloaded it because I was looking for a fresh game to play, so that way I could stream on TikTok and started a fresh run. And I was like, hold on, bro. Like, I'm getting into this now. Like, wow, this is a really great
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, nice, man. I can't remember which game adaptation or movie adaptation it came from. There was a movie that came out recently that me and my wife saw. I feel like it was Dying Light. It's the one where all the kids are like in they find like this house, and then they all start dying and then coming back to life. Like they have a certain amount of times they're allowed to die. And it's like based off of one of those games. I can't remember if it's Dying Light or not, but it's really good.
It's a movie?
Hmm.
Wow. Okay, most def. I think I have my next movie night. Well, you've already lined me up with two, right? Whatever this one is, and weapons.
There you
Like,
go. How about Evil Dead Burn? You seen that one yet? I haven't either, but I want to because I love Evil Dead in the franchise. I love Bruce Campbell. I know he's not in this, but I I love the franchise.
it's so awesome how you can keep the franchise going, and sometimes it's comedic, and other times it's like straight horror genre. Like, his character makes the movie funny.
Yes, yes, and that's the element they need to bring back to Evil Dead because I feel like they came out with Evil Dead, the Evil Dead, where they go back to the cabin, and that one's pretty cool. And then there's actually a Bruce Campbell cameo at the very end of the end credits. And then they come out with Evil Dead Rise, and that one was like very gory, very bloody, like very crazy, kind of scary. And you're like, all right, cool, cool. And then Evil Dead Burn comes out, and I'm like, all right, we're gonna get a change of pace here. And it was like this director was trying to outdo the blood and gore factor of the last director from what I heard. Which don't get me wrong, I love blood and gore, I love horror, I like trying to get filmmakers trying to scare me, etc. And all that's cool. But the essence of Evil Dead, the original three, would be, Evil Dead 1 was a horror film. Evil Dead 2 was a horror comedy, and then Evil Dead 3, called Army of Darkness, was just a straight comedy. So I feel like they need to bring back that type of movie genre instead of just trying to make the last one scarier than the last, because that's not what it's about. The whole lore behind Evil Dead is Bruce Campbell, Ash, he is the chosen one, anointed from God to kill Deadites. And it got to a point where even in the show, Ash vs. Evil Dead, he was like, I've been doing this for so long. It's just these things aren't scary to me anymore, you know? So he cracks wise jokes when he's killing these Deadites, where in these films, they set up such a great background where everyone's so scared of these things. You're supposed to feel scared of these things, but they need to bring back the hero that's like, these guys are nothing. I've dealt with them before.
Yeah, it's kind of like a walk in the park to that guy. And you know what? Look, I'm all for blood and gore, but I've seen it so much. I think use it strategically, right? Show us that, like it's not necessarily showing the character being like mauled or killed, but you can kind of see like from like like in a like an off angle, somebody getting their intestines ripped out, right? When that's the person you didn't want to die. Hey,
It's a ghost cat.
that's levitating. Like use it strategically, right? Like there's plenty of examples of people who like they sought out to make a horror movie, and even though there's been plenty of different horror movies out there, they still had something original or unique that actually kind of terrifies you. You're like, oh shit, like I've seen like hundreds of horror movies, but that was actually kind of creepy, right? Like
Yeah,
make it uh I forgot the word here, but like you know what I mean? Use the horror of it strategically.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, Bruce Campbell's character is funny. I like to watch a lot of recaps. I still do that, and I got into like the whole like Evil Dead universe, and then just like all of the different universes that are related to Evil Dead is like
yes,
surprising.
yeah. You got Jason, you got Freddy. There's a couple other ones I can't think of right now. I know like the Oculus mirrors involved too. Like there's a lot of different crossovers there, which are really
Broski said psst, psst to your cat.
yeah, yeah. She just can't get enough right now.
Tell your cat I said psst, 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 psst. And then did we watch Hokum? What is that? What is Hokum?
It sounds familiar. I'm not sure if I've seen it.
Supernatural folk horror film, already starting off good. Directed by Damien McCarty. It stars Adam Scott, cynical, grieving novelist, travels to
Oh, I did see that one. That was pretty good. It definitely kept you on your toes. That was a good one. Oh yeah.
And so I do this thing on my TikTok where I'm not supposed to, but sometimes I'll stream a whole ass movie. I'll just I'll just straight up like pirate the shit, but like I'm not necessarily like making money off of it. I'm just doing it so like it's like watch movies with friends or something.
Yeah.
I did that
Help
with
build up your views.
sort of, but like, even if it's just me, like I've done it a couple times with like Brosi and Mando and stuff. But like I think that if I were to put like a scary movie on, like a couple more people might watch it.
Leviticus. That's funny on TikTok. I actually uh I already saw the movie, so it wasn't like a big deal to me, but I was just scrolling through TikTok and I saw someone playing the Brand New Day movie, that's new Spider-Man movie on TikTok, and it was pretty good quality for them filming it like in the theater. Like I don't know if it was a live one or whatnot, but it's pretty good quality. And I was, I couldn't imagine like okay, you know what? I'm gonna commit. I'm gonna watch this movie on TikTok because don't want to spend the money or for whatever reason you decide to. You start watching it and then you've never seen it before. You're getting built up all the way to the climax of what's going to happen next, and then it gets cut for TikTok live restrictions. Then you're like, "Whoa, no!" That would suck.
I Yeah, you do get the live restrictions, but it just monitors or it just like will filter out the people who can find you organically, like if they're
Gotcha.
stumbling across you on live. But no, every time I've gotten the restrictions, they never stop me. They were just like, "You're not supposed to be doing this," but okay.
I do have someone for you for maybe your next podcast. My friend Amin, he just graduated from film school. He's trying to become like a director and produce and make movies and write movies and whatnot. And he is like a younger version of me if I went to film school. So I think he might be a cool person to bring up and talk movies next time. He's smart. He knows all the lore behind every movie. Um, yeah, yeah. I think he's a cool dude.
But we put them on the podcast together and we tag team them.
Pause.
No pause. Not just
No, yeah. It's a good idea. Yeah, yeah. We could definitely do that.
because like I feel like for all of the words that I would be missing, you would know what I mean, and then you would like vocalize it differently, but still ask the same question that I wanted to ask, or vice versa.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, Matt, dude. So like I'm thinking of doing skits now. I started off with like making funny ones, but like now that I'm seeing how easy it is, I'm like more tempted to write scripts and possibly I don't know, like act in these. I just like my biggest problem is I don't have enough people around me who are willing to put their face on camera like that. Like they get so
Gotcha.
shy. They get so nervous.
You only need one. I mean, if you think about it, going back to Obsession, the director Curry Barker, he started off as a skit producer. Like he would make skits with him and his buddy. Literally, he has a YouTube channel. He's been doing that for years. He got actually kind of famous off of that before he got the chance to direct Obsession. Um, so you just need one person, and then you can kind of go from there.
Yeah, man, I have tons of ideas, and it's not like the type of ideas like that other people are doing. They're
Some
organic to me.
originals.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because like I'm a consumer. So I know the type of stuff that I like and I know what I would like to see, right? And not saying I'm special or anything, but like I think that I could possibly even, create something that might be enjoyable for other consumers in a way that's like still very interesting and just, right to the point.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely, man.
Yeah, so I'm starting an OnlyFans soon and not just like
Oh
we're gonna
man,
get right to
I
it.
was,
We're
I
gonna
was about to
yeah.
text you in the chat underneath here, like, hey, don't blast me, but like, send me the link.
Yeah.
I'll support my boy. Let me know if you need a crossover event. No, that's
I got you.
terrible.
Pull that up on the camera, Jamie. No, Gonna get that. Yeah, man. So like, Let's see. How much time do I have? Okay, I got a little bit more time. How much time do you have?
Maybe another 15.
Yeah, 15 we'll call it, right? Yeah, man. Like, I think I have seen some of Curry's skits and stuff, and I think like him and like a couple other people. Like, what's that one? He's like a Middle Eastern dude out in L.A. Adam something. It's like all the Vine dudes, really. Like all those guys who were famous on Vine, like King Batch and all of them doing like the little
Yeah.
mini skits. Like I would always crack up at those and I'll be like, bro, that's really cool. I want to do something like that, and I just never got around to it.
Yeah, no, I feel ya. I feel ya. And some of them are so simple and they get millions of views, you know? So it's kind of like, dang, dude, like that was such a simplistic idea. Or there's even been times where I'm like, oh, this would have been funny if someone does this. And then a year later, you end up seeing someone do that and you're like, I should have capitalized.
Yeah, yeah. There's like a there's a thing that I've heard about before where it's like the ethereal realm or something where it's like thoughts and ideas that flow through that. Like if it comes to you and you don't do nothing with it, then the idea just kind of like transfers to somebody else. Like I
That's cool.
I thought that was like kind of spooky, but I always thought it was like kind of interesting. And it's like, yeah, it's true. Like, hey, yo, I thought about that first. You guys just, but I didn't do nothing, so I have no, I don't have a
Well,
patent on it.
I definitely do think there's so many people in the world and there's so many people with ideas that if you don't put it out there, someone else will. Like it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, like what was it? There was like two scientists that basically discovered the same thing at the same time in two separate countries. Like I think that stuff is like wild, right?
Yeah, that is. Absolutely.
Like what a coincidence, but it's like eventually the wheels are gonna get rolling in somebody's head. You might as well do something with whatever it is that you're thinking about too. Get it while the getting's good.
Yeah, me and my buddy Steve, we we would go like for example, we went and saw the last Star Wars trilogy together. With like Ray Skywalker and all that. And we just kept thinking like these movies are progressively getting worse. The Force Awakens, the first one, we're like, okay, that was really good. It has potential. And the next one was so bad. And we're like, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? Why they could have done this? They could have done that. Well, okay, you know what? We don't know where they're going with the third installment, so let's wait. The third one comes out, and we're like, that was so bad. Why did they go that direction? And then we kind of come to the realization that, like, we're like, we need fans to write these stories because they're you're getting writers and creators that are making these movies with little to no knowledge of the lore behind a lot of these characters or the care about the lore or the franchise. They're just kind of there for their next check. Not saying all of them. There's definitely a lot of people in the industry that are passionate about their job, but when it comes to, I would say, comics, Marvel, Star Wars, stuff like that, and you're making a big budget film, you got to have someone on the crew that wants to adapt it to the lore, to the accuracy of the written material before it, because that's what made it popular. That's what made it famous. That's what made people like it. And when you try to create your own thing, which I love it when people create their own things, original ideas are great. But when you're telling someone's story that's already been told, you do not want to shy away from their elements of what made them them, you know? So I don't know.
No, no, no. That's in pocket. That's right on the money. Look at The Witcher 3, right?
Mhm.
Henry Cavill's character during the whole like Netflix filming of The Witcher, he came out 3 seasons, right? And it was canon, like it was on point, right? He understood what he needed to do. And even though they kind of like he was obnoxious with it to like the other cast members and stuff, it came out good. But then by like the fourth season, I feel like that's where it kind of seems like it went a little Hollywood, you know? Like bring us back to helpless dreamers, the people that like even though 20 million different people are like do it this way, this guy's like yeah, yeah, cool, whatever. I'm still going to do it my way and just it's beautiful, right? Like it's just this guy didn't care. He, you know what I mean? He's just a genius at what he does and he doesn't really care about the things that are going to make him money or, learning past his mistakes. He's too busy dreaming on about, the next stuff, and it keeps the ideas coming.
Yeah. Yeah. Like when James Gunn was announced to reboot the DC universe, I was skeptical but hopeful at the same time because he's a great director. All the Guardian films were pretty good. They did feel a little repetitive, but they all made me laugh. They all did what they were supposed to do. And he is very comic accurate to his work. So when I was told he was going to direct the new DCU reboots, I was like, okay, not all hope is lost. Did I want this? No. But let's see what it turns out to be. And I remember hopping on Facebook and reading the article that he is going to bring Silver Age Superman to the screen. And I was like, oh, that's already a bad start. That's already a bad start. Because I mean, they already did that. They had uh, uh, Christopher Reeves, which is pretty much a Silver Age Superman. Then they had Brandon Routh's Superman Returns, which was a Silver Age Superman. And then they had Lois and Clark's Superman, which is a modern day Silver Age Superman. And then you had Zack Snyder's Superman, which is modern day futuristic Superman, which I was like, that's dope. That's amazing. Now, there was a whole thing there why that DC crumbled. And that's a whole nother 2-hour podcast if you want to get into that. But um, when I saw that post that he was going to bring back the Silver Age Superman, I was like, why? Like, that was such a bad idea. Like, I don't think that it's a bad idea to recast for a new DCU. I don't think it's bad to um, have all these different characters meshing together the way that they were doing it, running Green Lantern and Superman in the same movie. That's all fine to me. But the style and choice that he was choosing was like, dude, they already did that, and it just didn't sit right with me because I felt like there were so many different directions they could have gone. There's so many different stories to be told, and let's do something that we haven't seen yet. So for example, I would go, and this is how me and my friend Stevie always did it. If we were given money to direct a specific franchise or movie, how would we go about it, or how would we introduce characters? I would start off doing Green Lantern's darkest night series, blackest night series, where they bring in the Black Lantern Corps. So these characters are already established. You know who they are. People know who Green Lantern is. People know who Superman and Batman are. We don't need a fourth, fifth, sixth movie about their origins and how they became who they are. We already know, especially fans that are going to go see this, which is the biggest demographic of these watchers. So we're going to start off with something that goes into a movie that everyone wants to see. We want to see the Black Lantern Corps come to Earth, and we want to see, and that's where you can bring in a new casted Superman. Not that Henry Cavill was not the best Superman in the whole world, in my opinion, but that would be where you could bring in a new Superman. It's not a Superman movie; it's a Green Lantern movie, but you have all these different characters coming into this movie. To essentially fight the Black Lantern Corps, and then you could bring in the Red Lantern Corps at the end of this one, and then you could start doing spin-offs of different characters, because now Superman's been introduced through this Green Lantern movie. You have Batman as well. You have all these. It's kind of like, if you think of it this way, it sounds like a bad idea, but I promise you it wouldn't be. Think of, how Marvel did Iron Man and Captain America and Captain Marvel, and they built all these characters up, and then there was the Thanos movie with Infinity War. Think of it backwards. You start off with Infinity War, this big epic battle, and then you start off with individual movies of these characters connecting to that last big movie, ending on another big movie. So you have maybe a two part big battle scene of stuff going on with all these characters where, you don't know what to expect. You go to this movie, that Green Lantern's in it, and you're like, oh my, there's Superman, there's Batman, there's Red Tornado, there's all these characters. You're like, wow. And then you start getting all these spin-offs of these different characters, and then you have another big epic battle at the end where maybe it's Apocalypse trying to take over the DC universe at that time. Who knows? Um, but not Apocalypse. Sorry. You know who I'm trying to say. It's Apocalypse World. It's you know Dark Side. There we go. But that's the way me and my friend would think on how to do things, where instead of trying to, let's start off with a Silver Age Superman solo movie and the main character is going to be Lex Luthor, where it's like, bruh, how many
Saying,
times we got
yeah,
to see Lex Luthor again?
with his bald ass head. Uh,
Yeah.
um, yo, so look, I was literally just thinking about something like that, but it wasn't like Green Lantern. But when you started saying that, it reminded me of this episode I saw of Rick and Morty where that's not important. But like anyways, it would be a waypoint. It would be basically a place to start that opens up the doors to all of these fresh ideas, new roles, right? Different spins on things like and you would basically be activating that by like aiming the scope here and then just moving outward, right? And it would be even tighter to see what you're saying come to a fruition if the director can basically keep everything canon, like even when they're doing those smaller movies or like those spin-offs or whatever, have it come back to like that scene like where you see like something shooting through the sky and you're like, huh, what is that? But like you go back later on to see it in a different movie and you see them shooting right here, and then it kind of references like that same thing. The critics, the
Yeah.
fans, they would be all over that. How many times have you seen like something on YouTube where they're like, you may not have noticed this, but this was actually in this, and you're like, what? Like how? So you sit there, you spend an additional 2 to 3 minutes watching this guy explain it, and you're like, oh shit, like I didn't even notice that. But like that's the genius in it, you know?
And that's what people want from movies too. You want more depth to a movie. That's what makes it so good. Um, when me and my wife saw Barbarian, we were like, okay, this is cool, and we were both thinking at the time during the movie, like, okay, there's a crazy lady in this cave that's like eating, killing people and whatnot or whatever. And then you come to find out the lore behind it, that these tunnels go on underneath the entire city, and that she's not the only one. There's multiple children down there. There's multiple creatures down there. This is just one story of one creature in this one universe that they told, which was so kind of like, I need a sequel. I need to know more. I want to know what's happening. Now, unfortunately, he said it was a one and done. We're not going to get a Barbarian 2, which, but it's also what makes it a fun movie. Um, and then going back to the comic books, how the Blackest Night Green Lantern series, how they actually do that story, how they tell it is there is going to be a Blackest Night Green Lantern comic book, and it shares his experience throughout the series. And then there's a Superman Blackest Night comic book, and it shows his events throughout the series. And then there's a Batman version which shows his events throughout the series. So there's like 8 or 9 different point of views of the same story going on, which all mesh and entwine together, which I think that in itself would be such an epic way to present a DC or a Marvel film.
Yeah, because you would have to have like vision. You would have to be able to keep on the point, but also know what this point's going to mean further down in the future. You can't
Uh,
just be influenced by like whatever little guy is like in the, he's like helping you write, and he's like, like Hollywood, like about like nah, bro, shut up, like go get the coffee, like let this
yeah,
guy
yeah,
direct. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Like the creative directions are I mean, the studios are all about profit, and that's the thing that really bugs me is because you have such talented people making and working on these movies, and they'll come up with a fantastic script that everyone's on board with, and they're like, "Well, we don't think this demographic will reach the ages of 8 to 14-year-old girls, so we want to add this character." And you're like, "Well, you're changing the whole movie adding that character." And they're like, well, we're probably going to make more money if we do. And they end up tanking and bombing the movie entirely because of it. Just let it be what it's going to be. Now, there are circumstances where I can see why the studio wouldn't be happy. A good movie, for example, is Judge Dredd. That movie, phenomenal, creative, gorgeous, beautiful, peak cinema in most ways. And it was told directly to the accuracy of the comics of how the character's supposed to be portrayed. It was a great film. It was not a known character by a lot of people. Um, so not a lot of people went to go see it, and it didn't bomb. It wasn't great, but it didn't bomb. It made its money back and a little more some.
It like broke
And they
even.
were thinking of making a sequel, but they just had other projects they want to pursue more, so they never did. But that is one of those rare circumstances where it's like it was such a good movie and it was told in such a good way that I don't really know how to explain it. Like it was one of the rare few movies that they stuck to the scope and it didn't do.
Yeah, and you know, it almost like pains you when something like that happens. I
Mhm.
personally just enjoy the idea of like him being a cyborg and stuff and just being brought back to life. Um because like Buddy literally died at work and his boss was like, "Nah, fuck that." And he gets resurrected back at work.
So that's RoboCop, but that's also very good
Oh,
too.
oh yeah, yeah, you're no, but like I'm so down for it. I feel like if you're a billionaire, you're not doing anything with your money. Why don't you go invest your money into like some of these movies to be made? So that way, you know what I mean? Like these directors don't have to worry about funding. They don't have to worry about any of that stuff. They get to just make the movies that they want and go at it creatively because the one thing that I like about movies is that you, the viewer, the consumer, sometimes it inspires you. It inspires you in a way where it's like almost realistic enough to where you're like, yeah, I guess I could do that. And you just push the parameters of reality just a little bit further. And I think it's been like that throughout the ages of time. But
Yeah.
you know, like nowadays it's like they're regressing. They like we know the way to make money and then they just make a movie it bombs, right? No, 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 no. You guys only know based off of your guys' track record, but you guys it's like trying to predict the weather. You guys can't necessarily predict it. Whoever you guys have in charge of that stuff needs to just go sit down like
There's also characters that uh, they don't need a movie. Now, I don't want to come off any kind of way here, but like they filmed the Batgirl movie and they never released it. They shelved it and they took it as a tax write off. No one will ever watch it. And I'm not saying Batgirl isn't a character that doesn't deserve to be in a film. She absolutely does. She's a really cool character. I think lots of fans want to see her, but the depth of what created Batgirl was Batman. Batman is who created Robin, who created Batgirl, who created this Gotham universe. He is the main character. Now there are characters that are really cool that you want to see have spin-offs and so on and so forth. And if they do it the right way, it would make sense. But you can't have a side character lift a franchise. And a good example of that is what's it? Mad Max Furiosa Road. That movie was awesome. I loved it. It was so good, but it was a Mad Max movie without Max, so it did not get the audience and it bombed, even though the movie was so good. I love that movie. It's one of my favorite movies, but they'll never make the third installment because that movie bombed, which sucks because the third movie was supposed to be I can't even remember the title of what they were looking to have it, but Tom Hardy was going to come back as Mad Max, and it was going to be the finale of the third film. So I couldn't wait, but because they decided to take a side character, a phenomenal side character, try to lift a franchise, it's not going to work. It'll never work.
yeah. I mean, shoot, man. Like there's all these different possibilities. I was personally thinking of one just earlier when you were talking. I was thinking about what if they did it with Mortal Kombat? I don't think they've ever done it to where they went into like the characters independently. It's always been all or nothing in this Mortal Kombat tournament, right? But you got some really great characters in there that you feel like you want to kind of like connect with. You just never could. Like it's always like this is their backstory, blah blah blah. Now watch him fight and get his throat ripped out. Like, all
Yeah.
right, hell yeah, that's pretty sick. But then when they started doing like the revamps and stuff like that, all that stuff was just kind of like too choreographed. You know what I mean? Like, fuck it, throw somebody in the ring. You know what I mean? Give them their own movie, and then basically add some build up to that, right? Like let's see Liu Kang get his ass kicked by the Shaolin monks for a couple years before he actually realizes that like he's got some talent, and then they start to see something in him, or maybe Shao Kahn putting on the hat like in every video game. There's always the build up before you get to like the main part.
I think that would be a good way to do it. They need to bring in 2 or 3 main characters. Definitely do a Sub-Zero, definitely do a Scorpion, definitely do a Liu Kang, um, type of, background origin movies where it's fully focusing on them, and then the end of all 3 of those movies are them leading up to a tournament, and then having that 4th big blowout movie be in the tournament, and then you're seeing all these other characters that you're like, I wish these characters were in the Mortal Kombat movies, but now they are. They were lesser known characters, so they didn't have their origin stories told. But they're in the tournament. You get to see them, so you're like, that's what you call it, fighting. And I think that would have been a proper way to do those movies. Now, I I personally think they didn't do it studio wise because I think they see it as a cheap cash grab. The Mortal Kombat reboots. If someone were to pitch the idea of giving Scorpion and Sub Zero solo movies, I think they'd be like, "Heck no!" Where no one's gonna come see a Sub Zero only movie. I personally think that the Mortal Kombat fans will. And that's technically the biggest demographic you're trying to pull is the Mortal Kombat fans. Um, and maybe males in between 14 to 35 or whoever, but that would have been the appropriate way to do it. I do think the revamps, the newest ones, the one that came out 3 or 4 years ago, that one I didn't think was half bad. I was like, "All right, you know what? That kinda." I don't really care for Mortal Kombat that much, but I watched the film and I was like, "That was kinda cool." I enjoyed that. And they came out with the newest one, just I don't even know, was it like 4 to
Yes.
6 months ago?
Yeah.
Um, and it had all the right elements to me, It had Carl Urban, who's one of my favorite actors playing Johnny Cage, which is one of my favorite characters in the game. And I was like, all right, this is a movie I have to see. I was excited to see it. And I thought the first one wasn't half bad. Was it great? No, but it wasn't half bad. I went and I saw the second movie and I was like, this is hot garbage. I, I, that's exactly what it was. I watched it on like a Thursday night and I turned it off and I was getting ready for bed and I was like, I really wish I could have had anything else to do with that time. I wish I could take back that time and play my game or watch a different movie or take my dog for a walk rather than watch them.
I think that, and I definitely see what you're saying, but like I feel like if you were to give Scorpion his own movie, right, Hattori Hanzo, the guy's origin story is just badass, right? And then you got the
Yeah.
Lin Kuei where they invade, and then like now you got Scorpion and Sub Zero, right? But wait, hold up, you have Raiden and like whatever's been going on with like the gods this entire time, because it seems like there's always been some drama going on up there. But like, all right, let's get into like Sonya, Jax, you know what I mean? Not to
Yeah.
mention the potential to introduce new characters, which could potentially be added to the game as like some sort of downloadable character.
Yes. And that's sorry to cut you off, but I think that by itself would draw so much fans if the studio would be like, "Hey, we want to reach out to DC just to see if we can get a little Joker fight in here." Like somehow, some way, you've seen Mortal Kombat, Mortal Kombat, Mortal Kombat, and then there's all of a sudden Joker, and you're like, "What the heck? That is dope. That's just like the DLCs you buy in the game. Like, or Hellboy, like imagine one of them dropping in one of these fights. Not saying they're like the focus of the movie, just a fight
Just
would be
random,
so cool. Yeah.
random encounter. Like you just kind of see like the main character going about his business, and then you just like, what? All right, let's throw down. And you're like, bro, that's freaking Scream. I don't know, that's
Yeah.
Joker, that's whoever,
You
that's
know,
Michael
it,
Myers.
Marvel actually did it wasn't a crossover thing, but if you watch Shang-Chi, there was the scene where Wong was fighting the Abomination in one of the fight pits, and you're like, "Oh crap! You know that's the Abomination fighting that you haven't seen him since the Incredible Hulk. You know that was over 12 plus years ago. So it wasn't like a crossover event character, but it was so cool to see him in the ring fighting someone for a split second, where you're like, "Oh, cool!" Wasn't expecting to see the Abomination in Shang Chi.
Yeah, and I actually love that movie. Like I thought that shit was so dope.
It was a great movie.
But with that being said, brother, I do have to call it. It's been great catching up with you. I do
You as
gotta,
well, man.
go back to Sunday mode and stuff. But with that being said, your shout outs, go ahead and give the people your shout outs because this will be live all over the place. And then also any last, messages or any type of recap that you want to give, feel free.
All right. So the only shout out, well, first I'm gonna say, my sisters, I love you guys. My family, I love you guys. My friends, thank you for having me up on this podcast. I love you guys. I'm trying to promote my Twitch channel as much as I can. I don't have the equipment yet to present myself the way I want to. So right now, you're probably just going to see gameplay and me talking or narrating over it. It's mainly Marvel Rivals content, but it's typically going to be the hottest game that comes out is what I play. My Twitch name is hunk_TTV. Just like the Resident Evil character, you're gonna see if you go to the Twitch channel, you're gonna see the Resident Evil character as my icon. So, I mean, if that doesn't show my Resident Evil dedication, oh, why don't you Twitch Resident Evil? I beat the game twice already. There's only so much you can do after that. When they come out with more content, I'll probably has the DLC come out yet? When that comes out, I'm gonna play that. But thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it, and I'll talk to my buddy Amin so we can get more director knowledge coming up on the way he sees things and writes things and puts things together. Because he went to film school, so he has different ideas and mentalities regarding how to approach some of our conversation.
Yeah, let's pick that guy's brain because if we can kind of manipulate him, no, I'm just kidding. But if we could like throw a little bit of like, some ideas his way, you never
Yep.
know. You could be talking to like the next Stephen King or whatever. And it's influence, it's the power of suggestion, and it's positivity, man. So it's all love. But yeah, so whenever you get the chance, go ahead and send me over your link to your Twitch. I'll go ahead and post it up on this episode as well. And then love you, brother.
Well, you too. Cool beans, brother. Take it easy. You
Thank
have a
you.
good night. God bless.
Thank you. Bye everyone.